We're now going to skip all the way to chapter 12. Chapter 12 is going to look at trigonometry. So section 1 takes us back to everything that we had done last year in geometry with trig functions. And we're going to look at trig functions in right triangles. So we'll find values of trig functions within those right triangles, and then we'll find side lengths and angle measures of right triangles as well. So first thing, what are all the trig functions? The sine, cosine, and tangent, those are the ones that should look familiar to us. Those are the ones we're going to use the most. Sine being opposite over hypotenuse, cosine being adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent being opposite over adjacent. Now I'm going to add 3 more to your understanding. The first one being cosecant, then secant, and cotangent. These 3, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, are considered reciprocal functions. In other words, they just take, for example, sine to cosecant. If sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. It just flips it. In other words, it's just the reciprocal. Secant comes from cosine. So if you know cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. And then cotangent comes from tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so cotangent is adjacent over opposite. This little circle symbol in here that you're seeing, that is the same thing as theta. It's just a Greek symbol named theta that refers to angle measures. I don't know if we ever talked about that last year, but just know that it's just a variable referring to an angle measure. So we're going to use those, and now I want to find all 6 trig functions for angle B. So I want to find sine of theta, I want to find cosine of theta, and I want to find tangent of theta. Or actually, no, I'm going to, instead of using theta in this case, I'm just going to say sine of B since they're talking about angle B up here. Cosine of B, tangent of B. And then I also want to find cosecant of B, secant of B, and cotangent of B. That will give me all 6. Everything relates to angle B. Now, if here's angle B up here, 15 would be opposite of angle B, 8 would be the adjacent, and 17 is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. Okay, so sine of B then, we would say is opposite over hypotenuse, which is 15 over 17. Remember, if you can reduce, reduce, but in this case, they don't, so we're just going to keep it that way. Cosine of B, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, so we have 8 over 17. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so we would have 15 over 8. Once you have these 3, sine, cosine, and tangent, your reciprocal ones are a lot easier. Remember, cosecant of B, that's just going to be the inverse of, not the inverse, the reciprocal of sine. So we would have 17 over 15. Secant of B would be 17 over 8. And then cotangent would be 8 over 15.